Day 7 of the Game Boy Jam. 1 week in, I've got 3 days left. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So fortunately, over these next 3 days, the only real obligation I have is a club meeting that I'll be going to tomorrow. But other than that, I think I can, in theory, spend pretty much all of my day working on the game. Whether I will actually be up to the task or not, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think I will still be able to get a pretty decent amount of work done. So today I worked on making an introductory cutscene for the game, and then also started to expand the map a little bit. So we'll take a look at the cutscene now. Alright, there we are. So, one issue with it was, because I ended up making this in DaVinci Resolve, I tried doing some kind of, like, programmatic animation within GameMaker Studio itself, which I think would be ideal. But to be honest, like, I know how to use editing software, and I don't know how to do something like that, so I had to just basically make the decision, I'll do it like that. Although it did mess up some of the colors, so I don't know. I might technically be in violation of the 4-color rule, depending on how they score that. Although I do feel like that's more of a well, I don't know. I mean, they're extremely adamant about the 4-color rule, so hopefully I can figure out how to write a visual shader that will basically clamp all of the colors down to the 4 colors in my palette here, but we'll see. Alright, so these beginning sections, I've kept it mostly essentially the same. I don't think I've really changed anything. I did have some minor bug fixes to the combat system. Basically, there were certain situations where I think what was happening was that if the player was changing states on the same frame as an enemy hit them, sometimes the hit wouldn't be registered correctly because the state change would override, like, the two state changes didn't have the proper priority over each other, essentially, so I believe I fixed that. I'm not entirely sure, but one thing I did work on is the bat boss mechanics. So, the first thing you may notice is that before it's about to strike, it'll actually look down. I also changed the hitbox a little bit to only be kind of the central body and not include the wings, because sometimes you do get clipped by the wings and not too fun when that happens, so oh no. I also added in a health refill to my debug option, so if you see that happen, that's why. That won't actually be in the game. I do still have this issue. Sometimes the bat will basically hit you into the ground. I'm not entirely sure why that happens, but I'm working on fixing it. And I do feel, oh man, I do feel fairly confident with the difficulty of it right now, because it feels like, you know, if you're paying attention to the eyes, it's enough of a, you know, an indicator that you should realistically be able to hit it every time. And I also changed some stuff with how the bat moves. It follows around a little target that's modulated by a couple sign functions now, instead of being kind of well, I don't even know what my logic was for the previous iteration, but anyway, I think I like the way it moves a lot more now. It feels more like a kind of a classic video game boss. But anyway, moving through here. Business as usual. Now here's where things get a little different. So, I believe I actually made these yesterday, but they're these little floater enemies. They're essentially the same as the crawlers, but they're just going sideways instead of up and down. Literally the same thing as these guys, just a little different. However, I did also add these guys. Little, kind of a modified version, and they actually work on a sort of physics-based movement. Like they actually get a velocity applied to them, you know, once every a particular frame in their animation cycle, and then that's actually like scaled down by like a friction factor essentially. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the logic behind this was, but I had the idea for it and I made it. So yeah, just another basic enemy to give a little more variety in what you're going up against. Yeah. So now we have this area, which I think, I imagine as kind of like a part of a factory that's been converted into caves with spiders roaming around them. So, this is one of the new enemies, the spider. Not super happy with the sprite, but I think you know, I gotta just leave it. At a certain point, like this late in the game, you know, you have to just leave it as it is, and, you know, it is what it is. There's also these guys, basically the same as the other crawler type ground enemies, but they go in a different pattern. I also added perhaps a little mean of me. I added a crawler to this chain and then also one to this block. So, and then I did it again up here. So, I don't know. Maybe that'll trip somebody up. Did this guy just? Oh no. Is there an invisible? Oh, there is an invisible block there. Okay, I was having this issue earlier where Game Maker Studio has this thing called auto tile, where basically you make a tile set with the corners and the edges, and then it'll automatically figure out, and then you just paint it on ideally, and it'll automatically figure out you know, where everything's supposed to go, right? Wow, what am I doing right now? Sorry, it is very late at night, so my brain is a little fried. Anyway, you get up here, so yeah, there's some invisible blocks you can see here, so I'll have to take care of that, but basically it has to do with you know, the way a 16 sliced auto tile asset in Game Maker Studio. Sometimes when tiles are right next to each other, it tries to create a specific type of sprite, and if you don't have that one assigned, it kind of freaks out and doesn't really have a good answer, so I don't know, that's my understanding of it. Basically, oh yeah, so then I added these guys, which will, in theory, get in the way of your platforming here. And you also have this jump, which is like, kind of a little embarrassing, but I can't make it. Okay, there we go. And then this. And a little bit more of a cave to go through. Not as intense. Just kind of walking through this area here. And that's where we're at. So after this, I want to add 2 more bosses. One of them I think I want to be some kind of spider boss, but I do feel like the moveset of that would potentially be too derivative of the bat. Like it would just be something that kind of floats around near the top and, you know, like comes down every once in a while, which would be kind of derivative, so I don't think I necessarily want to do that, but I do want to make something spider themed to fit with sort of the motif I've done so far, which is that you'll encounter like kind of small, you know, smaller enemies, and then when you fight like the boss version of them with the like egg bursting things and the bat. So I want to create something similar to that, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Anyway, I think that's gonna about do it for this devlog. I will see you tomorrow.